Hey, everybody. So we are doing our 19.3 notes today. These will be done on that handout. So go ahead and have that in front of you. But we're looking at surface area of two new shapes today, and that's of pyramids and cones. Okay, first thing to do on that piece of paper is go ahead and just copy this formula. I would probably do it somewhere at the top of the paper, and then we'll try it out. All right. So, as we go through this, if you need to pause the video, please feel free. Okay. But surface area of a pyramid equals capital B, area of the base, plus 1/2 of the perimeter of that same base times S, slant height. Okay. So, a couple things to point out. Unlike the last formula, just be careful. There is not a 2 in front of the capital B. The reason why is because we only have the single base. Okay, the perimeter is still adding up all of its side lengths of that same base. Okay, but the new thing is slant height. Okay, we haven't really seen this. Okay, but slant height, you can see from the picture, is the height that goes up the side of the shape. Okay, and that is what we need. Okay, you'll see some of these problems will give us slant height, but there'll be a few of them that don't. Some of them will give us the normal height that goes from the center of the shape up. Okay, and we'll need to use that to find the slant height, and you guys will see it'll be a Pythagorean theorem thing that we run into. Okay, so when you guys go to do these problems, the first thing I would always look for is, do they give you slant height? Okay, if they do, great. If they don't, we got to find it, right? Okay, so let's start with number one. Okay, by the way, while I'm at it, capital B, it's still a very important part of the formula. It's still plugging in the area of the base formula, but I think you guys are getting pretty good at that. Okay, so number one, let's try it out. Okay, so we got a pyramid. Let's just start with our big formula. Surface area equals capital B, area of the base, plus 1/2 of the perimeter of that base times slant height. Okay, here's the first thing I'm looking for. Do I have slant height? Is it given to me? And yeah, the height going up the side of the shape is. So that's great. It's a good thing to have in mind. Okay, but let's start at the beginning of it. Okay, so first thing, finding the area of the base. Just to make it completely obvious, here is the base of my pyramid. Okay, you don't necessarily have to highlight it like this. Okay, but just realizing, okay, looks like all of the sides are the same. This thing's technically a square. To find the area of a square, it is just base times height. The base and the height of the square would be these side lengths. So let's go ahead and just plug in our numbers. 10 times 10 for the area. Okay, plus 1/2 of the perimeter of the base. Remember, the perimeter is adding up all of the side lengths of your base. This square has 4 sides, and if you want to show yourself that they are all 10, okay, and I just want to remind you guys, the reason why is because opposite sides, they're congruent. If this is 10, this is 10. If this is 10, that's 10. Okay, but if we add up those 4 10s, we'll get our perimeter. I'm just going to do that math and write a 40 here. Okay, if you wanted to in your notes show yourself where that 40 came from, we added up the 4 10s. You could do that. It's not necessary, but if you want to show that, you can. Okay, and then last thing, the slant height is given to us going up the side of the shape, so 13. Okay, so grab your calculator and type this in. Make sure you don't forget the plus there. Make sure you're hitting times. I would use parentheses whenever you're unsure if you should or not. Okay, so let me type this in. Okay, so I am getting 360. Okay, we're still doing area. It's still in units squared. Okay, so for now, let's skip past number 2 and let's take a look at number 3. Okay, first thing I'm looking for is, do they give me the slant height? And on this shape, no, they are not giving me slant height. They are giving me the normal height. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second, but let's just start our problem. So surface area equals area of the base plus 1/2 of the perimeter times slant height. Okay, so let's plug in what we do know, and then we'll get to the slant height. Okay, so same thing. The base of this is this square. Okay, and it just so happens a lot of these pyramids have these square bases. Don't always think it's always the same numbers, but 11 times 11 will give me the area of that square, plus 1/2 of the perimeter of that same square, adding up all 4 of its sides. They're all 11. So I'm going to do that math and get a 44. And then times the slant height. You might be tempted to put 10, but it's not 10, right? So we need to figure out the slant height. Okay, so here's the first thing to do. Whenever they don't give you the slant height, draw it in. Okay, I'm going to erase this blue. Okay, so on your drawing, go ahead and in the middle of this side length, draw a line up the side of your pyramid. There's your slant height. Okay, and what you can kind of see is happening is we're forming this right triangle. Okay, so from this normal height to the slant height, go ahead and draw on that side length. Okay, so we're looking for slant height, and that's a missing side of a right triangle. We can know the other two sides. This is a Pythagorean theorem problem. Okay, so this is where we're going to use c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Okay, real quick, let's figure out these three sides. Okay, this side length here is obviously what we're looking for. We can call it x for now. Okay, this side length here is 10. This side length they're not giving us. Okay, but we saw a problem like this before. This is right in the middle of the side length. So if we take half of this number, we will get the length of this. Half of 11 is 5.5. Okay, cool. So now we have all three sides. Let's plug them in. Okay, first thing, this is my hypotenuse. That always has to be plugged in for C, and that just so happens to be my variable, okay, which is nice, makes these problems a little easier. A and B are the other two sides. I'm going to make 5.5A and 10B. Okay, from here, I would hope you could just grab your calculator and go straight to finding x. Okay, I'm going to show a few steps. You don't necessarily have to. Okay, but the first thing to type into your calculator is this: 5 squared plus 10 squared. Or sorry, 5.5 squared plus 10 squared. Okay, leave that number in your calculator, but I'm getting that x squared equals 130.25. And then last thing is undoing the squaring by square rooting that same number. I would use your answer key instead of typing in that number. And I get that x equals, oops, let me change color, 11.41. So we'll round that to 11.4. Okay, so that number right there is going to be your slant height, 11.4. Okay, and then over here, there it is. That's what we plug in. Okay, so that's the only wrinkle we're going to run into throughout this is just if we need the slant height, we're going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, well, let's type this in and see what we get. So 11 times 11 plus 1/2 times 44 times 11.4. I get 371.8 yards squared. Okay, so what I want you to do is pause the video and take some time to finish up the other problems on the front side. Okay, what I'll do is I'll put this up on the screen. So pause here, try out the rest of the problems on the front, and then we'll take a look at maybe one of them. Okay, so my hope is you tried out those problems. What I want to do first is let's take a look at one of these many-sided polygon problems. Let's do number 6. Okay, so first thing, I guess let's keep looking for the slant height. They do give me slant height, so that's great. So I don't need to use any Pythagorean theorem. I just need to plug everything in. So do this with me if you didn't. You have area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter times slant height. Okay, here's why I want to do this problem. I often see people mess up on the capital B when they have a many-sided polygon. Okay, what I would recommend if you didn't, draw in this triangle. Okay, always get your head in the right spot because you think, okay, I need to find the area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height, and then times the number of sides. Okay, so 1/2, the base of the triangle is the side length. They're all the same and they're all 12, so worth showing that there. So 1/2 times 12. The height of the triangle is given to me, 8.3. Okay, and then times the number of sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then plus 1/2 of my perimeter. All sides are 12. There's 5 of them. 5 times 12 will give me a 60 there. Okay, and then times the slant height, which they give to us, 13.8. Okay, so nothing too crazy if you're getting good at that capital B for the many-sided polygon. Okay, so let's see what we got. So 1/2 times 12 times 8.3 times 5 plus 1/2 times perimeter times 13.8. Okay, sorry, that took me a second. I already have that. But I'm getting a 663 feet squared. Okay, we weren't able to look over the others on the front, but I wanted you to just take a chance to check your answers on the front. So if you want to pause this really quick, go ahead and look through those and see how you did. Okay, but moving on to the backside, that's when we get into the surface area of cones. Technically, it is the same exact formula. Okay, the only difference is instead of perimeter with a circle, we call it circumference. Okay, so on the backside, go ahead and copy just this, and then we'll go over it. Okay, one thing to maybe add to this is because we have circular bases, the capital B, the area of the base, will always be pi r squared. Okay, because we're talking about the circumference, we'll always use 2 pi r. Okay, slant height is still our focus. We need the height going up the side of our cone, not the normal height, right? Okay, so I do want to just try one of these that doesn't give us the slant height. To do that one more time. Okay, so skip past number 7 and 8. Let's take a look at number 9. Okay, first thing I noticed, they're giving me normal height. I don't want to use that. I need slant height, right? Okay, so just for the sake of it, let's start with that. Okay, so I know, okay, I'm looking for this. They're giving me this side of a right triangle and that side. Okay, this is where we can use, again, Pythagorean theorem. Let's go ahead and write it out. Okay, and whenever you're not given slant height, if you want to just start with finding it, it's not a bad idea. Okay, so hypotenuse, again, is our variable. So that's going to go in this spot. A and B are the other two sides. We don't need to take a half of anything, right? We know this, we know that. Don't overthink it. So 10 squared and 20 squared. Okay, so grab your calculator. See if you can go straight to figuring out what x equals. I'm typing 10 squared plus 20 squared. Okay, you don't need to write this step normally, but I'm going to write it out. I get x squared equals 500. And then undo the squaring by square rooting. Square root of 500 gives me 22.36. Sorry, I'm out of room here. So x equals 22.4, rounding that 3 up. Okay, so if you want to show yourself, that is my slant height, 22.4. Okay, definitely write that in. Okay, that's, I think, the hard part. From here, we can plug in our values. Okay, so surface area equals area of the base plus 1/2 of circumference times slant height. Okay, I'm going to plug in the formulas and the numbers because I'm getting pretty good at this, and so are you. Okay, area of the base, it's a circle. I know I'm doing pi r squared. The radius is given to us. It's 10. Okay, plus 1/2 of circumference, which is 2 pi. Radius, again, is still 10. Times the slant height, which we found 22.4. All right, so take a second, type it in your calculator. All right, I'm getting 1017.87, so that 8 rounds up to a 9 units squared. I don't think I pointed out, but remember, we're still finding area. We're still in units squared. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to finish up the backside. Go ahead and try the rest of those. Okay, I'm going to put the answers up here. So if you want to pause the screen right here, and as you go through, check your answers. Remember, some of these do give you slant height, and you do not need to use the Pythagorean theorem. Some of them don't, though. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. Try the last few problems.